Hi everyone. So today we're joined by Regent's University London, and they're going to talk to us about sports management and the degrees they have on offer. The session will be around 1 hour long, so please feel free to ask any questions in the Q&A box, and we'll get to them at the end of the session. With us today are Ivana, Tom, and Dr. Elias, who will be running the session today. So I'll hand over to Dr. Elias to kick off the session.
Thank you, Ivana. Thank you very much indeed. Thanks to Times Higher for giving us this opportunity to promote Regions and to promote our newly designed business and sport management. My name is Elias Boukrami. I am an academic. I lead the finance portfolio at Regent's University London, and my job title is a content director. And my area of research is applied economics. I've been part of the team that designed the business curriculum at Regent's University recently, and we're very proud of the product that I will be talking about, and to talk a little bit about Regents, about our ethos, what we believe in. So I will maximize my screen. That's probably better. So Regent's University London is the largest private university in the UK. It's part of the Galileo Group, Global Education, globally the largest education group in the world. We specialize at Regent's University London mainly in business. We do cover also fashion, creative arts, liberal arts, and psychotherapy. And part of business, our business ethos at Regents is we have designed a curriculum model that is quite unique and is quite distinctive that many business schools are trying, to adopt. This is based on learning outcomes that are Regents learning outcomes. So we have 10 learning outcomes. Those learning outcomes are quite broad, but quite global. So we do believe that all our graduates should be creative, should be critical, should adopt critical thinking, should be team players, should be problem solvers, should be future facing, should be able to learn all the time, should be able to collaborate, to communicate, and also to deal with technology and measure the impact on the planet or societies. So this is what about our learning outcomes. Regardless what you will be studying with Regents, you need to achieve those learning outcomes. Business degree, we have about 10 business and bachelor's degrees at undergrads. So this is what we're trying to achieve at the end of our degrees as a director in business. We want our graduate to become leaders, future leaders who can take a global perspective. I'll stress on global, because Regents is probably the most international university in Europe. We have about 2,000 plus students. We have 140 nationalities plus among students. We have 65 nationalities among staff. And we do speak and teach over 9 languages on campus that is based on Regent's Park. And we really recommend that one day you can visit our campus. So global, and that can work in multidisciplinary. Keep that word as well. So we have global, multidisciplinary, multicultural, multi-locational teams of the 4th industrial revolutions. This is what's about our learning outcomes. So we want people to be able to operate in a cross-discipline. I've applied that in my area. I couldn't really apply economics and finance until I really understood what is psychology, how assets prices are priced in financial market, how investors are reacting, why these measures of risk is not adopted as we see it in theory, because people have a different risk perception, and perception is a psychological concept, is not a financial or economic concept. Expectation is also, return expectations is also a psychological concept. So you cannot really understand proper finance in reality if you don't understand psychology. Today, as we speak, we can't really talk about business if we don't have a strong knowledge of systems and information systems, and then AI, data mining, machine learning. Everyone must understand at least those concepts. Otherwise, we would be very impossible to price companies, to understand businesses, because businesses do have to operate as we are now. Can you imagine you guys, you are in, South of America, beautiful area. We are in London. We can only deliver that because we have technology at minimum price. So technology is serving an economic concept, which is efficiency. So that's this multinationalism, this multidisciplinary, multicultural, multilocational, fourth industrial revolutions. We want our graduate to be able to navigate across that. So we developed a model. This is the model. Sport management is part of 10 business end. We have business finance, business management, business entrepreneurship, business marketing, business luxury brand management, business technology, international business, and business sport management, business and sustainability. So we have about more or less about 10 degrees in business. So altogether, we're talking about literally every year we have about 400 students in those areas. So each of the degrees has 3 ethos points: entrepreneurial, network driven. So all our students, because we come from the entire world, we want our students to develop their network and to have friends, partners from different languages and from different locations with a different culture, and to enrich themselves with those differences. And also, we want all our students to have this entrepreneurial, not necessarily starting up a new business. We can work for a company, we can work for a government with an entrepreneurial spirit. Therefore, we want our students to be able to improve and literally to ask questions: what should I do to face tomorrow? This is the entrepreneurial. In fact, Regent has the second, some stats says the first, Oxford and Regents and Oxford, with the highest entrepreneurs density in the UK. So we have more students at the end of the year 1 who start up a successful company. If we control it by the student numbers, we produce about 700 to 800 graduates every year. So if we correct that, out of them, 20% have a successful company. And we're very proud of that, because Regents students, they come from family businesses. I do have a lot of students, they come from Brazil. They operate in logistics, in oil and gas, and in PR, and they're doing really well as well, and from Venezuela. So the second one is tech engaged. So we want all our modules, all our teaching to reflect technology, to adopt technology. So we don't want like exam-based memorizations, repetition, and knowledge based on stock taking and stock giving back. We really don't want that, because the machine is doing it. We want our students to be able to jump in Thomson Reuters platform, get financial data, download it on a spreadsheet, run statistical tests, and come up with a decision. So this is just an example. We want our students to be able to do a boot camp in technology and literally and simulate an industry situations. We want our students, all of them, to be global, to have a multicultural dimension, and to be ethically responsive. So literally to understand what is right, what is wrong, what could be right in terms of regulation, but could not be right in terms of ethics, and maybe what could be right in the UK cannot be right in the Middle East or in South America. So through the first 3, every business degree has those 3. Sport, this degree we'll be talking about, will have 2 more. So the students in sport, or this degree, it's not about teaching how to do sport. It's not about teaching a psychology of sport. It's not about teaching again, some health in sport. It's not about teaching sport techniques. It's about teaching business within sport industry, how to make money, how to save money, how to create markets in the sport industry. Anything related. Why? The question is, why sport? My question to you, where do we spend our time? So if you want to price a business, you need to look at demand of consumers and where the money is spent. So if we spend more money on something, that thing is likely to be demanded in the future. So pricing is pricing demand. And the demand is measured in time. I think that at least in the UK, I can give you an example. I will be talking about Manchester later. Manchester is a city that is driven by sport. So the entire planning of Manchester, the entire business activity in Manchester, for example, it has two major sport clubs, two major sports grounds, where whenever City or United are playing, you will see the business activity shoots up. Yeah. So that is what is the degree about. So exploring business principle through the sport industry. The principles are the same. Economic rationality, understanding markets, efficiency, improvement, and literally saving money or managing resources. The second ethos of the sport degree is that is important. So the first one is micro level at company levels, right? The second one is the role that sport is playing in shaping the world. Sport is making a big role in getting people together, getting people to shake hands, to hug each other, to forget differences. And that is, we have seen that we've seen that in the Olympics, we've seen that in the World Cup, we've seen that, and how sport literally, is changing, culture and societies. So you can see now how sport is important. Because our next generations and us, we do spend a lot of time either following our favorite teams or favorite sport. Literally, we spend time on that. Therefore, our subconscious is motivated to learn. I've noticed in my practice, if we talk about literally a balance sheet of a company, students do not listen. But the moment you say the balance sheet of Real Madrid, or the revenue of Man City, or the ticket office of Wembley, people start to understand and react, and therefore it's easier for us to engage students. So this is I'm just giving you a quick example on what is how this sport the sport degree is divided. You will see that in green, these ones are 20 credits, 4 hours per week. These are the sport modules. At level 4, students will discover. So the level 4 is about discovery. Level 5 is about equipping and applying. And level 6, which is third year, is about making our graduate business ready, to become more critical on theory. So you can see these ones, we have 4 major sports degree modules plus 2 major projects. So all these 6 will be in sport. However, we have business commons, organizational culture and reputation. You can see on the level 4, or this is a combination of organizations, behavior, and marketing. On those modules, sports students can apply and do their assessments within the sport industry. Yeah. So literally, they will have to test a companies and test the culture internally and the market externally. So our students will be doing their assessments on Nike, Adidas, Real Madrid, Manchester United, Ferrari, McLaren, Sao Paulo, etc. So money finance decisions is also what we created, a quants degree, a quants module that we've designed. I personally designed Excel and finance. So it's finance with quants. So they will understand how to apply skills, technical skills on Excel and within finance. Again, the assessment will be on sport. If people are doing finance, the assessment will be on their financial companies. And then in the third one here, they have a module, markets and legal framework. So understanding markets and legal framework is a combination of economics, micro, or business economics, combined with business law. So that is understanding contracts in the context of economics. So this is what we meant with multidisciplinarity. We don't want our students to learn in verticals. We don't want that. We don't want people to have a financial accounting and then financial reporting and then management accounting and then marketing management, and then they will go to. We want our students to be able to navigate, because at the end of the day, the business model is one model at the company. There is an integration of all the functions. So we're not in isolations. And then we have the sport branding marketing at the level 4. At level 5, that's what I was talking about, sport changing the world. So we created the module called Sport Business and Social Change. This one is about the role of sport within macro levels, within countries, within, sport diplomacy. I'm going to talk about Qatar. Qatar is a country where international relations has been driven by sport for the last 10 years, and the Saudi Arabia at the moment is trying to do the same. So you have a national investment strategy that is designed to get ready for this World Cup. And then you will see how much economic growth that country will be doing over the next 10 years. Another one in terms to sport methods and business drivers. This is about using sport techniques in making business ready, in making business better. How teamwork is a sport. Going beyond potential is a sport. In finance, for instance, if you want to be good traders, you need to think fast and move fast and do 2-3 things at the same time. Otherwise, it's very hard. So these things, precisions, address, collaborations. So this is using sport, high sport performance techniques, how these are fed into business. Finally, in the final year, we have sport performance and decisions in sport. This module is a kind of financial performance module combined with strategy. So, and then how the business models of sport companies and valuing sports companies. And there is also 2 modules in business that everyone is doing. One is operations, which is logistics operations. And the other one is a module that we created, which is, it's disruptive strategies and models. It's not corporate strategy, dated. We don't want corporate strategy. We want disruptive strategies and business models. So how businesses are making money. So literally, this is what it is. In green, you can see in green, this is the uniqueness of Regents. Students can choose what they want to do. So some students, they want to do a language. So they can do a language for 3 years. They can do business, sport with French. And they can go in the second year, travel to France, study sport in France, in French or in English. They can also take Regents elective. Regents elective is only 10 credits, small modules, where we give our students the chance to improve their weaknesses. What do we have? Personal branding, fintech, big data, artificial intelligence, psychology, anything related to business, but from a different area. So we have about a pot of 40 electives where students can literally take electives. So we have level 4, level 5 electives and level 6 electives, you can see. At the same time, at level 4, we have 2 modules that everyone must do. We call it London perspective. So we teach them, because they come to London, they want to be in London, how London is special. London is the capital of the world in terms of financial centers, financial hub, in terms of fintech, in terms of fashion, in terms of creativity, in terms of literally, crossing all the disciplines and the culture. So the London heritage is quite important. The other one is learning perspectives. As you can see, we have a module called learning perspective. Learning perspective is a module where students will learn how to learn. So because we have students in universities and then we expect them to know Harvard referencing, to know what is a critical thinking, what is a good article and what is a bad article, or good data and weak data. But we never taught them. So we expect them to know that, but we realize they come from a different educational systems from around the world. So we decided to create a module called learning perspective. Okay. That module is about, so this is the Regent's model, what I just showed you there. And that model is being adopted already for 2 years. It has been a great success as our student numbers have doubled in the last 2 years. I will go quickly to sport. I think I covered a lot of it. You know, what is a sport? Is it a hobby? Now, is it a business? Is it, is it important? The answer is yes, it is important. It is important politically, it is important socially, it is important economically. Why? Because we spend a lot of our time and attention on sport. That's the answer. Yeah. So that is if we ask students to give examples literally on specific keywords on sport, I'm not going to ask you, but that's what I will ask students in class. What are the keywords in sport? Yeah, I think I just gave few. So this is what will come. So these are the words that will come through, a research that have been asking sport professionals and sport experts, literally, and that's what came in. The biggest one is success. Success. And success is a clear objective, goal, management, hard work, teamwork, time, plan, projects, the best. So Olympics, all what we count is gold medals, because that is, it's not a taboo to say we want to be the best. So we need to teach our students to work hard and be the best, and also learn how to when to lose. This is a sport concept, fair play. Know how to lose, because losing, it's not losing, it's just is the first attempt in learning or in trying. So this is quality. So these are, we did in vivo research that came up with this. And I'm showing you here, sport has been ahead of our time. Everyone now is talking about diversity, equal opportunity, inclusion, this, that. The sport people have been doing this 100 years ago. Yeah, this is the evolutions of sport, that is from being local to become national and then to become global. In fact, the major, most important sectors at the moment, the most important events, what are they? Olympics, World Cup, Champions League, and tennis, Formula One. So this is where, what people are watching. That's what people, they get together on that specific period of time where you have 5 billion viewers that's watching one single sport event. This is a massive source of money. That's why you have a lot of sponsorship, a lot of PR companies, a lot of funding companies sending, money to those events, because people will be focused on that. So the sport market as well has been, characterized by mass participation. This is ideal if you have a business that is exposed to mass participation, because you are guaranteed the scale. Scale matters, scales matter. Innovation is creation, but is diffusion. So it's very easy to adopt, much easier to adopt innovation in sport if you're really creative, because the innovation in sport literally will lead to an easier diffusion rather than something that is local, quite new, etc. So that is so these are the characteristics of sport. I'm not going to spend much time, talking about the history of sport, but just to give you an example, this is how much, sports people are getting paid, literally, and how much they are making extra income that is not related to the salary, because sport professionals are becoming an icon. Who doesn't know Cristiano Ronaldo? I think he scored over the weekend at the age of 39. He scored goals for his national team. So somebody like this is making the impossible possible, because that is, in the past we used to say, oh, you can't play at high level when you are 40. Cristiano and Messi are showing that is not true, because now we can tell the story to the next generation. If you are disciplined, you work hard, and you follow a specific rigor, you will make it. And it's not like you have to retire when you are 29 or 30 and leave the international scene. And therefore, so these two players specifically, that they have made things that were quite impossible 2 decades ago. And now we are in a different era. So that is the association. I'm going to talk a little bit at the end about Adidas and Nike. So this is the evolutions of how in the International Olympic Committee and the local Olympic Committee, where, it has been shifting from local to international. At the moment, those events are not considered to be national or local. They are absolutely, they belong to the world. The World Cup doesn't belong to the nation that has been organizing it, or doesn't even belong to the nation. I mean, I'm sure that in Brazil, the World Cup is a national event, even if it's organized in South Africa. So that is, that's obvious. Yeah, I'm not going to spend that. The sport ecosystem is this. So we need to understand what is the ecosystem of sport. As you can see, it's the governance. It needs a very strong governance because there is a lot of money. FIFA is at the moment, the budget of FIFA is over 150 billion, that is at the moment that is managing. So the FIFA executive committee is very important. We have sometimes arguments, should we say, who is more important economically, the United Nations or the FIFA? Just to tease people, FIFA can develop local pitches, grounds. They have a lot. They can be much more effective in developing local sport than any other agency, because literally they make money, they generate money, and they give money. Yeah, so they give money. So if so the governance is very important. The other thing is talent scouting. So that is in Germany, for instance, or in the UK, football is the dream of every. We've been looking at what kids are dreaming. Their dream is not to become a doctor or to become a city-based trader. Every 10, if you take people from 8 to 13, their dream is to become a professional footballer and to be the next Ronaldo or Messi. So therefore, there is a ratio of how many professional players do we have for every 1,000 license that you have in place. So the talent and the scouting and training is very important as a system. And Brazil, to be fair, Brazil has always been the feeder to international talent. So it's part of this global system. Sports goods and manufacturing, this is also massive. That's what we're talking about, because Nike, Adidas, Speedo, Arena. So all these people, they are making the equipment. Their bottom objective is not to sell in the high street market, but the primary objectives is to make the people that wear them more having a better performance. So if you swim and you wear, Speedo and because Speedo has helped you to overtake Arena, or Arena has helped you to overtake Speedo. So this can be used into the marketing, literally. So literally Nike is good, or Adidas is good, or Puma is good. They can leverage on what they do on the sport performance. The other one is a big one, is the events, and which is linked to the infrastructure. So literally, and the retail side of sport is linked to the other ones. And finally, is the funding. So where the money is the funding. So this is literally is the sport ecosystem. And so these concepts, all these concepts, that they are business concepts, and we want our students literally to, to understand how they come together and how they, they literally make money together. So literally, so this is the key metrics of success in sport. So this is what we have been looking at, and that's what companies you will see. I'll try to go quicker because this is supposed to be a longer lecture that we kind of prepare. It's how many people view, as we talked about it, the World Cup final, the Olympics, 100 meters speed sprint. So the viewerships. So measuring how many people do follow you. And this concept of viewerships is a sport that has been created in sport. Now it has been pushed forward to the social media. How many followers do you have? How many views do you have? How many clicks do you have? So the sponsorships, so how much sponsorship you are attracting, and the broadcasting. And the broadcasting, we teach students, sometimes we say, Elias, you have this player, I don't know, let's say, let's pick up a player, Harry Kane, is an excellent forward, but is much more expensive than Didier Drogba was. Yeah, this is an example where and technically maybe Drogba could have been a better striker than Kane could be. I'm just saying. The reason in that, because Harry Kane has a stronger market where he's followed. If he plays in the UK for, let's say, and therefore his price, because the attractions that Harry Kane is bringing, or David Beckham on his time, literally that's what makes David Beckham much more expensive, because the personal image that Beckham has in a strong economy. If you are an excellent player, just like give you an example for George Weah, for instance, coming from Liberia. George Weah technically was probably one of the best forwards, but the image that George Weah has, if he was a French player, it would have been probably 5 times the price. So because there is a leverage. There is a leverage on the market you are in, not the nationality, the market you are in, because your image is in a much more bigger market. Let's say Brazil. Brazil is a massive market and it's a very strong emerging economy. Therefore, you will find a Brazilian player that is much more expensive than, I don't know, we can take another player from, let's say, from Zambia, for instance, even if technically they are the same. And finally, the performance. Let's not ignore the performance. The performance, literally, there is a lot of research. They compare, the performance is like the accounts and the brand. So world-class companies have products, have accounts, and have a brand. Right? That's what we call, if I have to select a company to buy in finance, and we say, okay, you need to have 3 things. Accounts, top price earning ratio, making money, improving your money making, let's say like Apple or Google or Microsoft, just, so, you're improving on your profit margin, you're reducing the overheads, etc. But, you need to have a strong product, and and that will create you a brand. So a lot of sports companies or sport clubs or sport, they have the brand that you will play on. But what is feeding in the long term that brand is the performance you make. So if Real Madrid doesn't win a championship or La Liga for 5 years, what's going to happen? And that's what's going to happen to the revenue. You will see this later on. I'm not going to spend much time, literally, as you can see. So this is the populations, just to show you the importance of sport. I think we touched upon it. So the sport has roughly 3.5 billion fans worldwide and 250 million players across 200 countries around the world. So this is probably the one thing after internet that is bringing people together. So this is the some examples on on direct and on direct income, direct related economic impacts. So major event, professional teams, amateur sport, and leisure sport. So that we will be covering different things, but we will be focusing on major events and professional teams. Yeah, that's a degree. Just to tell you, we will not teach you how a local gym is managed or how a local sport leisure center is managed. Yeah, because we want to stay with the mass, with the global aspect of it. Because so this is just to give you an examples, how much, Tokyo 2020 had, 4.2, million followers, and London 2012 had the record. It was outtaken by Paris recently. So this is the relationship between the media and the sport, and how much the importance of marketing. I'm not going to spend much time there, colleagues, so I'm just going to go straight into the business models. So you can see most visited websites, Marca, number one. That is what we were talking about. Why? Because the language that Marca operates in, English and Spanish, and literally, and the mass markets you have in South America, and South America sport, we say is like religion or more. So this is, again, you can see we've been 1985, 3 million TV rights to literally 2 billion in 2023. So it has been multiplied literally by nearly 1,750 times. So this is, we talking here is a matter of 30, it's about, it's about 30, 25, it's about 40 years. Yeah. That is massive increase. And then where it's gonna end, we don't know. Yeah, that is, that is the Formula One. That is something that we will be touching upon. But you can see on the right-hand side here, so, the brand value of selected clubs in the Premier League. I remember Man City, you can see, Man City prior 2010 was a club of second class in the UK. Within 10 years, okay, look what Man City today is, the highest brand in the UK. Why? Because investment funding, the Abu Dhabi funds, and Sheikh Mansour funding, they invested massively in infrastructure. I can tell you, East Manchester today has been regenerated, to fit Man City purpose. Massive stadium, massive academy, massive football ground and training ground. So literally you can see, and what happened over those years, they had the sports projects. It's not enough literally to have the money, the business model. Bottom line, you need to win the Champions League. And Man City did it like 2 years ago, where they won the triple. They tried, they played the final. So, and they lost it, if you remember, to Chelsea. So, and that's the sport projects has to be synchronized with the business projects. And Man City, I picked Man City as an example because Man City can show this clearly. You can see in black, Manchester United. That was massive money-making club. Massive, it was successful. What I told you, Manchester United has not been winning titles for years now. Yeah, 4 years, especially since Ferguson ended. You can see the market reacts. It's not enough to say, oh, we used to be, Liverpool before having Liverpool winning the Champions League again and winning the Premier League again. Liverpool used to be a very strong brand, but because the titles were not there, so what happened? There is a correlation, but there is a lag and a causal effect. So it will not happen straightforward. So that's why they need football clubs. They need to keep on this. This is an example where I'm comparing 3 companies: Nike, Adidas, and Puma. So, and then we looked at this, from a financial perspectives, as you can see, the global revenues, and, post-COVID, Nike reacted much better. Why? Because Nike is an American company. Why? Because Nike is much more resilient. Why? Because Nike in its business model used less debt. Why? Because Nike in its business model had cheaper capital and paid less tax in the end of 2018, 2019. The fact that you are an American company coming from America where capital is efficient, it's much more the market also. So we forget to say that US Americans, their GDP per capita now, despite being a major country, is $86,000 per capita. That is massive. This is more than Qatar. We think Qatar is, they are very rich, but in fact, American per capita, GDP per capita, so it's the largest GDP in the world with 29 trillion, well above China. And then the result is here, because you can see between 2020 and 2022 or 2023, the gap between Nike and Adidas is becoming bigger and bigger. Yeah, and there are economic reasons for that. So, and that's what so the fight is like, who's going to be the sponsor of the next Champions League winner? Who's going to be the sponsor of the next, world record breaker, etc. So that is Man City. So this is where Man City is, today. So look at the revenue that has been following. We had a gap year 2020. So, and then you can see the revenue is the match day, how much they make out of the match days. The ticket sales is very minor. Most of the revenue is made through the broadcast and the commercial revenue. So but at certain point, you can see Man City was not filling up its stadium. So therefore, if you don't fill up the stadium, literally, it doesn't send a good image for your, when you are broadcasted. And that was a problem that was fixed couple of years ago. So you can see today, that was last year, I think, now Real Madrid has again overtaken as a global brand. But Man City, in terms of 15 years is nothing. Yeah, we're talking about 15 years, since they have been taken over, and it started with Mancini, and then they had a sport director, Berada Omar, that is at the moment the CEO of Man City. Today is the number one brand with Real Madrid and slightly behind Barca. So you can see it has, so this is when they looked at the fan perceptions, the fans wants to see a long-term vision. So that is not, they think that there is visibility. 93% in terms of investment facilities. So how the fans are believing how the stadium is like, something important. I think this is the weaker one, sustainable financial policy. I think that is the weakness of Man City at the moment. In fact, despite having, a massive revenue, Man City has a loss of about 12% of their revenue. So the loss is about 112 million. So, and the other one is maintaining the ethos and the traditions of the club. So these are the ethos and the KPIs where the funds, because the funds are the ones that are holding your club, your business, let's call it a business. This is, if I have to criticize another club that had international funding, had a lot of capital injection, Paris Saint-Germain. In France, where I'm from, Paris Saint-Germain, literally now there is another club that is supported by Bernard Arnault, so literally, because the fans, they think that the new owners are not maintaining the ethos of the club. That is quite important. Would you like that somebody from abroad, from London, comes to, to buy Sao Paulo, or and come up with a different philosophy, change the way you play football or you like football, or change the way kids are promoted, or Santos or whatever. So literally, if you lose the trust within your own circle, So literally that will not help it. So that's, if you can see, so this is what we're showing here, as you can see. So that is, that is the profit that have been made on Man City. So, and that is how the commercial performance that I was saying is measured. Man City is saying that they are #1 Premier League club for videos views and partners content. They're the #1 Premier League club for engagements, and also they are the #1 club for delivery of media value via partners content. So what we're saying here, if your club or your business doesn't have a very strong digital footprint, you cannot be successful commercially. So our students, they have to understand, the business models innovations, and literally how can you make sure that you score high on this. So literally looking at the speed, understanding the data, understanding the digital marketing, understanding also the interactivity and how to penetrate, the consumers, and how to attract and make sure that content is simple, is homogeneous, and is traveling fast. So if you don't have a strong digital strategy, you cannot be literally successful sport. But as a sport, your job is to win games, yeah. But in reality, it's not that. If you can't have a very, very fast and safe and sustainable booking system for your match events that will allow you, we can see this in a lot of countries where the portal for the booking system and stadiums is big. Some countries, they build massive stadiums, but when it comes to the booking system, you have like 100,000 people trying to buy tickets. What is happening? The platform collapses. For just giving you an example. So that's why I said earlier, understanding technology is quite important. I will end up, I think I've been slightly over times. I'm really sorry. And I'll take a few questions if you have some. Thank you.
Thank you, Elias. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you so much. Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have any questions, but people will receive a recording after the session and an email if they have any further questions for you. But that was very interesting and very insightful look into sports management. So if you need to drop off, Dr. Elias, feel free. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Elias. Thank you.
Very good evening to everybody.
Thank you. Good evening.
Have a good afternoon for people in Brazil. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah. So now we're going to hear from Ivana and Tom about Regents in general.
Yeah, we're just gonna whoever is still left on, you can leave the questions in the chat on the side, but you can leave them whenever you want to. Sorry, this was a little bit longer than we expected, so we're not going to keep you for a long time. We're just going to quickly go through a presentation that we have that's a little bit about regions and a little bit about entry requirements and just a little bit about the CAS process. But I'm going to, kind of rush through it. So if you have any questions, well, me and Tom. So if you have any questions, then just leave them on the side and we can come back to that quickly. I'm just going to share the screen. Sorry. Can you see this?
I think it's just loading. There we go.
Okay. Sorry, I just need to. I can't see the. Oh, okay. Can you see it now?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah. Okay. So just quickly, I can't. Sorry. Yeah, so Regent is a private university. We're located in central London. I don't know, can you see this on the side that I can see all of you guys and your faces? No, you can only see the screen, right? Because
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
a lot of things going on. Yeah. Okay. So just quickly, Regents is a private university. We're located in central London. So this is where we are. I don't know how many of you have ever been to London. Maybe some of you are even, I don't know where you're all based. We didn't even ask you where you're from. Sorry, our bad. But we are located in Regent's Park. So we are just here. The tube station is Baker Street, and we're kind of, so I don't know if you ever maybe walked through Regent's Park, but maybe you've seen us without even knowing that that is us. So the location is something that students are always the most interested in because we're so central. So as you can see on this photo behind it, there's BT Tower and there's the city. Behind it, you can even see Tower Bridge in the distance. This is quite a good photo. We offer a variety of different courses from business, as Dr. Elias was telling you all about the business courses. So we have business courses, but these are not the only ones that we do in Regents. We are specializing in fashion. Fashion design and fashion marketing are one of our most popular courses, I would say. Fashion marketing kind of does the of course the fashion marketing side of things, and fashion design does the design side of things, and we host a big fashion show each year in May in our on our campus, and a lot of big names from the industry are coming and they're sitting in the fashion show, and then they're offering internships to students who did well. We offer also interior design. That's also one of the most popular courses because the facilities we have on campus are extraordinary. Various film courses. I know that students from Latin America, we have seen a rise in students from Latin America coming, and they're interested in film courses. So we have screenwriting and producing, and we have acting. Also, we do media and communications, advertising. We have a School of Psychology and Psychotherapy, as Dr. Elias mentioned. We have international relations. So I would say a variety of social studies. As we say here, we are focusing on global connections, as Dr. Elias mentioned before. So we're trying to make students employable for the future. Hands-on learning and excellent facilities, but I'm going to talk about that in a different slide. So yeah, as we said, tailored experience. So we have a flexible curriculum that enables students to design their own course. So when we say design their own course, he was talking to you a little bit about business, and business is the best example for this because you have a variety of business courses. I'm just going to quickly go here. So you see, you have a variety of business courses. As Dr. Elias mentioned, he was focusing a little bit more about global sports management, but luxury brand management is one of the really popular ones. And of course, always the classic ones like international business, business and marketing. So here, what I was trying to tell you is that we have a number of elective modules that you can then choose from whichever course. So for example, if you're studying business and management, you can choose one of the optional modules from, for example, global sports management, and you can incorporate that into your own, I would say, like structure of modules. So that's quite interesting. We have a student experience officer. That's also something that maybe not most universities offer. So I'm not going to go with all the generic ones. I'm just going to tell you something that we can be, Regency is a little bit different in doing, and that is students experience officers. So basically every student from enrollment to the moment they graduate and even afterwards, they are paired with student experience officer, which is kind of like their guide, their go-to whenever they have something to ask about their visa process, even application process, when they have questions about life in London, to put them in touch with the accommodation team, to offer them some kind of advice and guidance, because of course, as we know, like most of them are coming alone, some of them are coming with friends, but that doesn't mean they're any more wiser. They are coming alone, they're coming from different countries all over the world. Regents is mostly an international university, so we have a big blend of different nationalities on campus. So student experience officers kind of help you navigate through that time to students, and it has proven to be quite effective. Students sometimes also can more easily speak to like an older student than a member of staff or a teacher, so that's why they're there in place. and they are really helpful. Small population, we only have 4,000 students on campus, so Regents is not a big university, and there is kind of sense of, I would say, like a community in Regents. Teachers are, I would say, quite, when I compare them to my education, I studied in a big university in England, a public university. There was like 30,000 students, and when you compare them to 4,000 students in Regents, it's a completely different environment because the teachers are more relaxed. I would say they're more open to help. They know everyone's name. Some students get a little bit scared when I tell them that they know your name, but of course it's not like high school. Nobody really tells you how you're going to manage your time. You just do it yourself. It's a university, but at the same time, they are more approachable. They're willing to sit down with students, have a coffee with them, explain to them kind of what's wrong, what they can work on better. So I would say the support in Regents is quite good when you compare it, like, for example, to my university that I've been to. Maybe Tom has a different experience, but you're not just a number in Regents, so that's quite good. Of course, we prioritize mental health, and we don't believe in traditional exams. We test practical application. As Dr. Elias said, we don't have exams. We don't learn from books and then write in class. Everything that they do on live examples. They have a lot of live case studies that I'm also going to mention in a different slide. And yeah, all the tests are of practical nature. They're all independent research, so students can choose how they're gonna do their own research by themselves. Nobody's gonna count their time. Yeah, we build global connections. So also that's another thing that I'm just going to go through quickly because he was talking about it before. But this is really true, and what Regents is trying to kind of do, considering that we're a private university in central London, we want to offer the students the same kind of level of exposure. So whether you're studying, it doesn't have to be just business, of course. Business courses are just the best example when it comes to something like this, because you can have a variety of different examples and people from different companies, professionals coming into the university and giving them lectures. But it doesn't just have to be about business. It's also a lot about, I would say, as I mentioned before, it's also a lot about fashion. It's a lot about psychology. We have different professionals from different institutions also coming for psychology students, for example, and also giving them live case studies that then they are working on for a grade. So that's quite interesting. But yeah, these are just some of the companies that we're working with here. There are a lot more other companies that we're working with, and they change throughout years. So we're not always going to have partnerships with the same companies. But considering that we are, again, I'm not going to repeat myself a lot, but considering that we are in central London and the students are paying a fee for a private university, which I know can be quite challenging, especially in this environment today, because it's not just the tuition fee that they have to pay, it's also the cost of living that they have to pay in London. And there's a lot of other things to consider, especially for parents when they're sending their kids for the first time. But they do really get what they're kind of paid for when it comes to this, because what I tell the students, a lot of people have a degree these days. It's also a little bit about who you know and what have you been doing while you were studying, where did you do your internship, what kind of how were you exposed as a young professional even throughout your studies, not just when you finish. And Regents is really good at doing this. So we had Hof and Regents. Recently they had a collaboration, and this is like one of the latest ones. I knew Professor Elias was gonna talk about business, so I wanted to use a fashion example of one of the collaborations we did recently. So lead of Hof, this is her, and a designer, Alberto Jimenez. They met with the students in the innovation lab, so that's also one of the facilities that we have in Regents. And the Hof team shared their vision and their design with the students. And they had 3 weeks to design and create their proposals, then their submissions, and then there was a panel, and one of the products was chosen, and Hof actually had a whole line, just Hof and Regents. Hof is actually a Spanish brand, so I think you all maybe heard about it. I've seen a lot of it in Spain when I was in Spain recently. So Hof had a whole line they did with Regents, and shoes were amazing, and yes, that's just one of the collaborations that we have on campus. Subject areas, these are all the undergraduate courses. I'm not, of course, going to say them all out loud, but this is just kind of an overview of what we do. So as I said, acting, advertising, art history, which is something I didn't mention before, different types of business, fashion design, fashion marketing, film, interior design, international relations, luxury hospitality management, media and communications, and psychology. So these are some of the areas that we cover. All social sciences. We don't do the things that we're not really specialized in. I know a lot of, and we can do that because again, we're a private university. A lot of big universities in England, they do all sorts of courses, and then maybe like focus can be better on some of the schools that they kind of specialize in, that they're famous for, but we just do the ones that we're good at, and these are the courses that we are good at. We don't do any none of the engineering, none of the science courses. Postgraduate courses, again, it's a variety between business, between finance, between fashion. There's a lot of different types of marketing, so they're quite interesting. The finance ones are quite interesting because you won't find them in every university, like finance and private equity, finance and real estate investment, and investment and wealth management. And then again, we have media, psychology, psychotherapy, global arts markets. This is one of the new ones, and luxury hospitality management. This is also one of the new ones that we do. Luxury brand management, I would say, of course, and international business. These are one of the top ones that we do when it comes to postgraduate courses. Tom, do you want to take over? Do you want to share your screen, or should I just leave mine?
Might as well keep it on.
Yeah.
But yeah, hi everybody. I know I haven't spoken much yet, but I just wanted to say briefly a massive thank you for everyone who's attended today and stayed for the last hour. We won't take up too much longer of your time, but yeah, I hope you've learned a lot more about Regent and about global sports management. And please, if you do have any questions, feel free to put it in the box, as Ivana said, or just email us afterwards. And also, Ivana and I do work in the recruitment team together, and I'm also your recruitment officer for the LATAM region. So again, feel free to contact me. I can jump on a call, and it'll be really great to meet you actually face to face, seeing as we can't see any of you. But yeah, feel free to contact me. But I'll just talk you through our entry requirements for Regents, and this is the undergraduate entry requirement typically. So we only allow a maximum 2-year gap before applying from studying, and we require, depending on the course, we require two GCSE levels, A levels at grade A to C, or the majority of courses do require 3 grades A to C. We also have 24 points for the IB, and we do accept the GPA. So if any of your students are studying GPA, they do need to have a 2.5 and also one of the following. So either 3 AP tests averaging a grade 3, an SAT score of 1,100 or 550 in both subjects, an ACT with a composite score of 26, or a dual enrollment and college credits. But yeah, please ask separately for each country, as these do have different percentages, and these are all on our website as well. So feel free to have a look on there. Ivana, if you could just put some.
Yeah.
Perfect. And so for our postgraduate entry requirements, fairly simple. So we do require a minimum 2nd class UK undergraduate degree, or anything that's the equivalent in any international country. And these are case by case. So as long as it's deemed acceptable by Regents, everything should be fine. And similar to the undergraduate requirements, we do have a maximum 5-year break between studies. So yeah, that's just our process here. Again, in terms of the holistic view, we do offer work experience as a substitute for some degrees. But yeah, as I said, that is case by case. Now, in terms of the English language requirements, slightly different between undergraduate and postgraduate, but the undergraduate, as you can see on the screen, we do require a GCSE language of C or 4, an IELTS of 6.0 overall and 5.5 in each component, a PTE academic of 64 or a language cert pass with a minimum 33 out of 50, and also for the postgraduate, an IELTS of 6.5 overall and 5.5 in each component, so that stays the same. A PTE academic of 67, so 3 points more. A language cert pass with a minimum 33, so that stays exactly the same as the undergraduate as well, or an IB English A, English B. We do offer a free English proficiency test. This is called our REP test for offer holders. This is free of charge for the first one, or £70 on the second try. But again, you can contact us or see everything on the website for your students there. So yeah, just before the application process or when you are applying, please prepare these supporting documents because they will need them throughout the whole application. They will need a copy of their passport photo ID page, proof of their English language proficiency, as we just talked about, also proof of their academic qualifications, and the original must be in colour and translated into the original version. We also require proof of any UK study history, if they've obviously been in the country before, and a 300 to 700 word personal statement. This is really important, and we really want to know why you want to study the course that you're studying, why you want to study in Regents, why you want to study in the UK. So yeah, place a lot of emphasis in the personal statement for your students. And in terms of the deposit, so obviously the students will need to meet their offer conditions and then pay the deposit to officially accept their offer. So they can pay in their local currency, they can pay by credit or bank card, but the deposit is £4,000 for an overseas student. And again, the way that they can pay is on our website, but they just log into the student account, click deposit payment, add the account holder details, they review the amount and make payment, and the payment can be tracked on Flywire. But yeah, this all needs to be completed within 48 hours.
Okay. Tom, do you want me to?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. Just the last bit and then we're done. Before students make their visa application, of course, they need to have CAS. I'm sure you already are familiar with the process. So you need a CAS letter, which is something you get after you upload the documents. It's really easy. You have a CAS shield that the student, so once the student pays his deposit and receives an unconditional offer, of course, then he receives a login to CAS shield or enrollee, and everything is really simplified. Everything is explained to them, why they need to upload certain documents and when do they need to upload them. Our CAS team is also incredible, and they are really quick with responses. So whenever you, as Tom said before, I do apologize, I didn't, when I started speaking, I didn't actually introduce myself properly, but thank you, Tom, for doing that. You can always contact us whenever you have any questions, but you can also contact the CAS team directly. We're going to give all the contact details just at the end of the presentation. So these are just some of the things that they will need to provide, as it says here, in order to get the CAS letter issued to them. When it comes to financial evidence, so the deposit they have to pay is £4,000, as Tom previously mentioned, and then the rest of their tuition fee. So that deposit of £4,000 is being deducted from the overall tuition fee, whatever that tuition fee is. Let's say if the tuition fee is £22,000 and they paid they have to pay for the rest of the 18. Well, they have to show it in their bank account if they're not going to pay for it before they receive the CAS letter. And they need to also have £12,006 for UK VI living requirement. That's what UK VI living requirement inside of London is at the moment. So, which basically results to 1,334 for each month of the course. up to maximum of 9 months, regardless if they're going to be staying in the country or not for 9 months. That's what they are requiring. So 1,334 for each month of the course. Of course, when you're advising students, if you're just speaking to them, this is something that the UKBI requires, but when you're speaking to the students, I would always kind of tell them to maybe keep a little bit more on the side, because London can be quite expensive, accommodation can be quite expensive. So I would say that this wouldn't cover, or would maybe barely cover your cost of living in London. So I would say something more towards like £1,500 per month, I would say at least, is enough to cover your expenses in London. And then of course the rest of the fee to be visible on their bank statements, or approval letter from their parents. Of course, if the money is not in the student's account, his personal or her personal account, if the money is in the parents' account and they are showing their bank statements to get the cast letter, then they also need to submit a birth certificate that proves that these are their parents. Yeah, and just for the end, it's the events that we host internally inside of Regents. So we have virtual open days. Soon we're going to have also a pre-departure. So I don't know if any of you maybe has some active students, and maybe that's why you're here. Some kind of students that are already have applied to Regents or are considering Regents, please reach out to us so we can explain a little bit more about this pre-departure, and we can explain a little bit more in general about whatever you need to know. So we have Regents Difference, which is hosted every month on campus. It's an open day when students and their parents and whoever they want to bring, they can meet the academics and join campus tours and Q&As. So we do like an overall presentation about the facilities and the things you can do in Regents as a student, and then they are taken separately to their respective courses, whatever they are interested in. Academics are amazing. They are normally very open to all the questions, of course, and as well as the supporting staff like us, we are organizing the event. We also have campus tours. So I know that students who normally do tend to go to Regents, they're those kind of students who are willing to even fly out to London and look at some of the campuses in different universities around. So if you do have these kind of students, campus tours are usually very popular. We have them every day at 11 and 2. And you can book them on the website if you just type visit us. But if you want more information, again, you can speak to Tom or myself. So yeah, I think that would be it. And this is Tom's email address. He's in charge of the region. This is my email address if you need it. And you have agents, which you can also always email. You have admissions. They are quite helpful and responsive with emails, but it's always easier if you have some kind of an admissions question to maybe direct it to Tom, because you will get a response a little bit quicker. And of course you have our CAS email, which I mentioned before, where the CAS team is always available for any questions you might have. And that's it. Thank you so much for listening to us. Hope we were quick.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it a lot.
Thank you so much, both of you, and Dr. Elias as well, for such an insightful session, and all the attendees as well for joining. Just to let everyone know, as a reminder, there'll be a recording of the session that will be sent out afterwards to everyone that's registered. And yeah, any final words before we head off?
Well, if there's no more questions for me, I'm happy with whatever's being said. Thank you guys for sticking out till the end and listening to us. If you have any questions, as we said, you can direct them either to me or Tom.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I reiterate what Ivana said. Happy to meet you in person as well, on a call, whatever suits you, especially if you have any or quite a few questions that would rather be over a call. So yeah, thank you all for joining.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Have
you.
a good evening.
Thank you, Emily. Thank you.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.